Mike King Biz here, host of On the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio program. We're heard as part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, daily from 5 to 7 a.m. The Choice 105.3, every day from 2 to 3 p.m., as well as International Business Growth Radio. That is Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. That's where you find us. That's where the game changers come to talk. On the Mic with Mike, Mike King Biz Radio is the premier business radio program in Central Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network. We are in the Mike King Biz studio. That's where we are. What we do is we showcase RVA in a different way, and you can follow us on social platforms on the Mic with Mike RVA as well as Mike King Biz. All right, we got Jaclyn here with us with People's Advantage Federal Credit Union. Welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, really quickly, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yep, so my name is Jaclyn Sullivan. I am the Director of Real Estate Lending at People's Advantage Federal Credit Union. So primarily what I do is specialize in getting people into a home and getting them loan ready to purchase a home.
People don't know the process.
Nope.
They don't know the process, and it can seem impossible. The barrier is big. Everyone down in Petersburg, you love going down there with you guys. You guys are part of the community. Tell me more about your financial journey. Were you always good with money?
For the most part,
yeah.
So
that kid.
I was that kid, yeah. So
Okay.
I actually started my journey about 10 years ago. I started at a local credit union in Hopewell. Started as a teller and moved up to loans, and then came to People's Advantage a little over 2 years ago, and have been doing the mortgages there ever since. So I've been in the financial industry for about 10 years.
How has it changed? Are people more responsible now than they were before? And what did COVID do?
I will say, in a personal opinion, people are a lot more reserved in ways. So people that have been around in the finance world for a while are a lot more reserved. I've noticed in at least the mortgage industry for first-time home buyers, I've noticed a mentality shift in first-time home buyers where when I was becoming a first-time home buyer years ago, there was the mentality of starting from the bottom as a first-time home buyer and working your way up towards your dreams. And I've noticed since COVID, there has been a shift in the mentality towards home ownership and becoming a first-time home buyer, where now people are wanting to start at the dream instead of work their way up. So that's been one of the biggest shifts.
Here's a technical question, man. One of the great parts about having your own radio show is I can ask the experts. Can a person be a first-time home buyer more than once?
Yes.
See, ladies and gentlemen, the burning questions are answered here. Explain how that's possible.
Absolutely. So a first-time home buyer is defined as somebody that has not had an owner interest in real estate within the last 3 years. So if your name is removed from the deed of the property, one of the biggest misconceptions is it has to do with the loan itself. So a lot of spouses or couples one person will get the loan, but both will be on the deed. So they can try to utilize first-time homebuyer benefits again when they move and they try to swap that individual. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
It's all about the deed of the property. Yep.
Alrighty, so tell us about the products that People's Advantage has.
Yeah, so my favorite product, I'm a little biased in the mortgage department, it's our Advantage Home Loan. So one of the things, actually there's so many barriers, a lot of first-time home buyers out there will know. There's a lot of barriers, especially in this economy, of becoming a first-time home buyer. So one of the things that we did was looked at the overall mortgage process and tried to break through as many barriers as we could. So with our Advantage Home Loan, we accept scores as low as 580. We do not have a traditional down payment requirement, which is normally a barrier for most people. For example, with an FHA loan, your minimum down payment is 3.5% of the purchase price, where instead we'll go up to 97% of the property's appraised value. So your down payment could possibly be nothing. It just depends on how much you're purchasing the home for compared to the appraised value.
Wow.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people were thinking, and you hear it in the market, 20%.
Yeah.
Gotta add 20%, and you're saying that's not necessarily the case.
Correct, especially with our program. So that 20% that everyone thinks of is to eliminate PMI, which is the private mortgage insurance. And for those that don't know, private mortgage insurance does not protect you, it protects the lender. So, in the event that you default on your loan, you are essentially paying a monthly fee to protect them in the event that you default on the loan. But if you put the 20% down, they will eliminate that PMI. With our product, we do not have PMI. So, even for example, in our brochure here, we have a story of a person that actually purchased a home in Richmond. Their down payment was only $120, and we still did not have PMI on that loan. So they're still not being charged that additional insurance that a traditional mortgage would have charged.
So your credit union, a person could come from anywhere and buy a home and just work with you.
Correct. So we service the, actually, let's see. So our mortgage product is good for the entire state of Virginia as
Okay.
long as it is within the CDFI tract. So
Gotcha.
that is
Okay.
one of those specific things about our program. And then we have our field of membership, which goes as far north and west as Louisa and Goochland and the King and Queen William, and then as far down south as Sussex.
Really quickly, let folks know, and this is sort of what makes you guys different, the CDFI. Explain that part. Because you guys do business different.
We do.
Yeah, and as so Michael had been here, Deontay, Chris has been here, Amanda's been here, and they say you guys get all up in people's business.
Absolutely.
You do.
Absolutely.
And that's how the process works, and that's part of this boot camp thing that you guys have as well.
Yes. Yeah. So with the CDFI, a Community Development Financial Institution, so it is a designation from the United States Treasury, and it essentially just means that we are serving our mission statement, which is to serve the underserved and underbanked communities, where most financial institutions do not see those communities essentially as profitable, so they're pulling out. We are jumping in because we are a credit union. We're not for profit. We're for people. And part of that.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
We're not for profit. We're for people.
Absolutely. Well, as a credit union, we are owned by our members. So that is one of the biggest difference between a bank and a credit union is we're actually owned by our members. So with that being said, we do banking differently, and even down to our mortgages. We understand life happens. Happens to the best of us. And with the education piece and the boot camps, it's not beneficial just to spit information at people. It helps if we can have those one-on-one consultations and understand not only where they are now with their finances, but what has transpired to make them, be where they are today. So we get all up in your business.
Yeah, I know. I like that. Mike King, Jaclyn is here with us, People's Advantage Federal Credit Union, coming to you from the Mike King Biz studio. From the time a person starts working to you till they're able to, because you guys have the boot camp, you get people ready, what's the average amount of time would you say?
Honestly,
across the board?
It's across the board,
Because
yeah.
everybody is different.
Everyone is different.
And people come in all different kinds of ways.
Absolutely.
I can imagine.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have people that they have, the scores that they need. They have the history that they need, but they don't have the understanding of the process that they need. Some people come in with an understanding of the process, but not with the scores or the credit where they need it to be. So we tackle it from all angles, however people come.
It's something with you guys. So no matter what product we're talking about, Phil had been here talking about business banking. Deontay, Mike had been here. Chris had been here. All different products, but it's the same, which is having people understand what it is. It's not just a mortgage.
Right.
It's not just, I qualify for a car, but how do you manage that right there? I have a business.
Yeah.
Explain how that culture happens and what you guys do really.
Education is key. We're not here just with our mortgages, for example. I always tell people, I'm not here to create loans. I'm here to create generational wealth and home ownership. So of course we can get people into loans. I have people that come through, and we have a specific way that we look at qualifying. It's the affordability factor. It's very common in our industry for specialty programs such as ours. So we will not allow your monthly payment, your new mortgage payment, to exceed 30% of your gross monthly income. And that's to ensure it remains affordable for you and you can afford groceries and other aspects of things. There's plenty of times where we have people come through and we have them approved under a program for a specific amount, but another lender will approve them for more. And I always tell people, just because a financial institution says yes does not mean it's a good financial decision for you. So we actually get more into their business as far as what their goals in the future are. Because, of course, a mortgage is a 30-year commitment. And we're not going to shoot for the stars and max you out if you plan to purchase a brand new car in the next 5 years. So, really understanding all of their desires and dreams and helping them achieve that as an overall, even for business owners.
So they qualify with you at this level. Somebody else says, we'll give it to you that level. You have to explain to them that new shiny thing may not be the best thing for you.
Absolutely. Those are always tough conversations to have.
Because they're like, wow.
Yes.
I can get that thing. And you're saying,
but can you? That's really the conversations. And we try to keep things, we actually have a seminar. It's called Keeping It Real Estate, where we try to have real conversations. And unfortunately for those people, we do have two examples where they did go with that higher mortgage and they did come back before a year and they were unfortunately past due because they could not afford it. So we do our best to ensure that everything that we do, whether it's on personal loans or vehicle loans, business loans, and mortgages, that it fits your financial needs.
Okay, what's the biggest barrier that people run into? Getting into that people show up for a good part. You have an idea that this is coming. You see it over and over again in the marketplace.
Yes. So the inventory. There's no affordable inventory at this time because
affordable.
Yes.
Affordable means different things to different people.
Absolutely, it does. So a best example is Hopewell and Petersburg. They have traditionally always been the cheapest areas to live within the Tri-Cities area. A starter home in Hopewell and just in 2019 cost about $115,000. Those same exact homes are now being sold for $200,000 to $215,000. So we've had a huge market shift, and that's being caused essentially was supply and demand. There was the rates plummeted, bringing every single buyer to the market, not just first-time home buyers, but other buyers is repeat buyers. And
I can handle 30% at $100,000. It looks a lot different with 30% of $200,000.
Well, and that's the issue that we're running into is the income that people have at this time. If when I'm looking at my numbers, most mortgage companies will first look at your debt to income ratio and they'll just max you out and shoot you for the stars. But when we look at our 30% affordability factor, I have a smaller window that I'm looking for that mortgage payment to ensure that it's affordable over the next 30 years for you. And the amount of loan that translates to is not what's currently on the market. So the amount of income compared to affordability, essentially compared to what's on the market right now, especially in the Petersburg and Richmond and Hopewell areas,
I don't know if it is secret or whatever, but everyone is talking about Petersburg is hot. Maybe Richmond's become a little bit too unaffordable, and now it's moving down. Has some of that trickled in the Hopewell?
Oh, absolutely.
There's opportunity in Hopewell.
The housing market is the same. I found it's the same in Hopewell that it is really in Petersburg. They're kind of neck and neck there. I do find that homes are more affordable still in Hopewell and Petersburg than they are in Richmond. However, they're unaffordable for what is traditional for Petersburg and Hopewell.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you look at of course, going back just a few years, just to 2019 before everything boomed, we're talking starter homes increased by $100,000. And that's really caused a barrier for a lot of people because the only way to combat that is cash on hand to put down. And in this economy, cash on hand is essentially unheard of. So we we do have another thing that we have worked on that'll be rolling out to help combat that as well.
Alrighty, let's talk about success stories. You guys talk to and help a lot of people. I know there's some things that stand out.
Yes. So, one of my favorites is actually we have in our brochure for everyone that comes to see us to read about. We had a member come to us with a very low score. I say very low score, lower than normal score. They were in under the 500 mark. And with using a lot of our resources, our education, and our budgeting, our boot camps, they were able in 1 year's time to increase their score to where they could get approved for our mortgage program, and they did. And so, with 1 year's time, utilizing our other services unrelated to the mortgage department, they were able to get into their very first home here in Richmond, and their down payment was only $120. And that was about year and a half ago, and they're still there. They're still doing great, and we're very, very happy for them. We were able to help.
So you're talking to people who come in, they have an idea, they want to buy a home. Sometimes people are kind of like, oh, Jaclyn, whatever. And then you see the light come on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the moment when you see they start to get it.
Absolutely. So again, we like to have real conversations. Even my best example is myself, so we will use our personal experiences or personal experiences of those around us that have given us permission to help break those barriers and help with the understanding, because buying a house is a process. It's a huge process.
Yes.
And it's hard to understand, especially if you don't have a general understanding of credit, for example. So we always start from the very beginning. We answer any questions that are presented to us, but we take the time to ensure that they understand, and breaking it down any way they need to make sure that they are really getting that big picture, because a lot of people, like you said, they come and they just want to talk about it because they don't think they could do it. So once they hear that it's always possible, it just takes time and determination, and you're going to have to maybe work on some things. Or some people come, like our example here, he came to us because he was actually being evicted from his home because they were selling it. So when the housing market boomed, a lot of renters were being forced out because the landlords were selling, and he wasn't able to find a rent that was affordable. So when he came to us just looking for any options, the look on his face when we told him that he could buy a house was great. It was great.
Alrighty, one of my King here, People's Advantage Federal Credit Union. You guys do a lot of cool things down there. I looked up. I see the governor in there with you guys. What were some of the things that you guys talked about?
Yeah, so the biggest thing was education. With all of our products and services, again, education is key. And he agreed. So one of the things that had been discussed was a funding of an internship through People's Advantage to create, what is the word that I'm looking for? To create the people who provide the education. Essentially extending our team to help the Petersburg partnership with the governor's office, so that we can have certified financial experts, more certified financial experts, because we do have those already in Petersburg at People's Advantage.
People's Advantage out there in the marketplace, Richmond, Petersburg, Hopewell, all around, really doing some really cool things. Anything else on the education side on home ownership? I know people show up, sometimes people are embarrassed.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh Lord. They don't want to tell someone. So now a person comes, they're getting evicted because the house is being sold. Not ready to buy a house. I don't know the possibilities, but my financial situation isn't great, and they got to sit down with you.
Absolutely. Again, our best examples are ourselves. I will tell you everything about my financial journey, and especially when it comes to people get very embarrassed about collection items and things that weren't paid, and creating a judgment-free zone is really key, and letting people understand that I am a person just like you, so I have been through those same things. So I'm not coming from a place of judgment, but I'm coming from a place where I have been there and I can help you through this. I had people that were able to help me through this. So I can in return help you. So creating those judgment-free zones and using our personal experiences as our best examples that we have.
You guys partner with a number of organizations down in the region right here. Talk about some of those relationships that you guys have and how they help people who are partners and members of People's Advantage.
Absolutely. So we again we have so many people and organizations. One of the main that we have right now is CCC SMD, is the Consumer Credit Counseling Services of Maryland, but they do have locations here locally. That is currently what we are utilizing for our education piece. So if I'm not doing the education myself, we do have them as a partner where they come in and they do budgeting, they do the counseling, financial literacy. They do our mortgage boot camp as well. So they're really there essentially as an extension of us to help our members get through and understand the process.
Do older people buy homes?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really? Because you always hear the life cycle is you get a home young, keep it, then older people are always downsizing.
Right. I have noticed within the past probably about 6 months or so, we've had a lot of requests from our older generations. Absolutely.
Okay, here's one of Mike. We're here. One of the things I always wonder is you always hear on the radio, whatever. If you're paying $1,200 more rent, you can buy a home.
I don't like those. No.
I can imagine.
No, it really, people come with those questions all the time. I've always been told that I shouldn't be renting, I should own a home. And really, honestly, it depends. It depends. I actually was talking to someone just yesterday where for them, they were explaining to me that it doesn't make sense for them to purchase, and of course, asking why and trying to understand their thought process, and they were absolutely right. Their rent is $500 a month.
Oh.
It has been for years. A single individual, they don't have to worry about any maintenance on the property, and if they purchase a home, it's going to be a lot more than $500 a month, and they have to worry about the maintenance. So that's one of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Society things, where society says I should be, I have to own, right. Home. And that's not true. I know plenty of successful people that don't own a home. Of course, home ownership is the best way to create generational wealth. Doesn't mean it's the only way, and it doesn't mean it's for everyone. I know people who are completely against home ownership, and that's absolutely your prerogative. Some people, it doesn't make sense for them to purchase. A lot of individuals in the older age community where they've come in to have the conversations about, does it make sense for me to buy a house? Some people find, well, it doesn't make sense for me to buy a house, so they don't. I have some people that are, one of my oldest applicants was 81.
Whoa.
And yes, yeah.
Really quick, okay, so like you said, and we're going back to the line, getting up in people's business. When some of the times you always hear, if I buy a home, if I rent, something goes wrong, someone comes in and fix it. If I buy a home, I'm responsible for hot water, heater, roof. Talk about those conversations because that's getting up in people's business, and also training and educating them. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So that is part of our education process post home ownership. So the things that you might not be thinking of right now. Of course, the process is so long. All you're thinking about is getting those keys in your hand and getting that new couch and getting that new furniture.
Moving day.
Absolutely.
Everybody's happy. All those things.
Absolutely. We always warn all of our members, statistics show that within the first 12 months of home ownership is when you will put the most money into your house for repairs.
Months?
Within the first year of home ownership.
Man, I was just so happy.
Right. And then you're calling me in 3 weeks saying my AC unit went out. We've seen it happen, and it happens frequently. So that is part of our, from the very beginning and throughout, even down to, the day before closing, we'll have those conversations again. We actually have a system that we're working on now, a checklist for people to be able to remind them to check on certain things monthly, annually, semi-annually. Just flushing your water heater. Who's done that? No one, right? I know I haven't, but it's something that we should be doing, especially when you're purchasing an older home. You have no idea how long things have gone untouched. So again, personal experiences, we use those because not a lot of people have that understanding of things, but we don't. You never assume that, right? So we just, go through our normal processes and, go through all of our personal stories.
And those are the things really to keep people comfortable with owning a home. Those are the steps that you guys walk us through. A checklist, like you had said, an older home, newer home. Something's going to go wrong.
Something's going to go wrong.
And here you are, and they're calling you because you're the person who walked them through the process.
And we tell them to. Absolutely. I will tell every single one of our members, if you have any issues, please give us a call. We love to be we're your financial institution for life, right? We're not your financial institution till you sign the papers. So we have those resources where we're able to, and personal experiences where we're able to help coach and guide people even after. Where a lot of lenders, you sign the dotted line and they say, why are you calling me? No, I prefer you to call me because I want to make sure that, you're not being taken advantage of by another company coming in to do the work. And so we're there forever.
All righty. Jaclyn is here. How can people find you out there?
Yes, so our team is growing. So when this was originally written, it was just myself and our purchase mortgage side of the department. So now, and to find us, the best thing to do is call our main line, which is 804-748-3081, and choose the option for the mortgage department. Or for those people that are working and can't really get to the phone, you can email us, and that is mortgage at it's peoplesadvfcu.org. So peoplesadvfcu.org.
One of my Jaclyn's here. People's Advantage, Federal Credit Union, they are great. I'm telling you, the things you guys are doing, helping people, and they do get up in your business.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason for that.
Absolutely.
Because there will be less stress on the other side. So
Absolutely.
Mike would like to thank you for coming in.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk to you soon. Thanks now. Take care.